Welcome to another installment of This Is Not Normal on the Political Drain podcast with Drill Sergeant Doug, aka Admin Doug, a U.S. Army veteran, teacher, musician, and family man from Jamaica, now fights for justice and democracy through commentary and humor. Follow him on YouTube at Political Drain and at Sons of Liberty Official as Drill Sergeant, aka Admin Doug, continues to protect our freedom.
Higher prices, jobs collapsing, grocery prices up, cost of living skyrocketing. And every day he makes you lie to yourself, to your family, to God. You know what he is. You know what he's done. You know what he's covering up. Corruption is a cancer in Washington, and the heart of that cancer is right here.
President, your first 100 days has far exceeded that of any other presidency in this country.
What's up, YouTube? Drill Sergeant here. And yeah, Lincoln Project is back again, as usual. It's funny, as usual. Also, it's truthful, direct, to the point, and shows you what the corruption in the White House is doing to you personally, in your pocket, and to your family. The type of messaging that seems to still evade Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. They could learn something. So we're going to watch these two new ads from the Lincoln Project, provide some context for where we are right now.
Washington, D.C., the most corrupt capital in the world. It's not even close. And the corruption starts right here at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Shady crypto deals, pardons for even the worst criminals, a massive cover-up. Protecting pedophiles and sex traffickers, run directly from the Oval Office in the Department of Justice. Tax breaks, no-bid contracts, backroom deals for people who made seven-figure contributions that reek of corruption. You trusted Donald Trump to clean up Washington, but instead he and his family are raking in billions. And your family? Screwed. Higher prices, jobs collapsing, grocery prices up, cost of living skyrocketing. And every day he makes you lie to yourself, to your family, to God. You know what he is. You know what he's done. You know what he's covering up. Corruption is a cancer in Washington, and the heart of that cancer is right here.
There it is. There it is. How can you be funny and scary at the same time? They do it. They're good at it. They're Republicans. Of course they are. The only thing they've been good at is messaging. Anyway, the second one. You ain't forgot about the Epstein files, have you, YouTube? You haven't forgot about the Epstein files yet, have you? Check it out.
For years, Kash Patel called for the release of the Epstein files.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's black book?
FBI.
But who?
That's under direct control of the director of the FBI.
Now Kash Patel is director of the FBI. What's he saying?
You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
There is no credible information.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Really? Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, was convicted of sex trafficking of a minor, conspiracy to transport minors with the intent to engage in criminal sexual activity. Does Kash Patel really think we're that stupid? Maxwell is the only person convicted of child sex trafficking, but didn't traffic to anyone? Who else knew? Who's Kash Patel protecting? Can't be too hard to figure out. Who's his boss?
Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are.
Release the Epstein files.
There it is. The same dude. This is what they do. The same guy who's been talking about this for so long, who's naming names, who's in the administration, who needs to be arrested. When he gets the same position, he's just humiliated like the rest of them. And it has occurred to me that there's been so much foolishness and disgusting acts by this administration just in the past week or two or three even. From the UN to that disgusting display in front of our nation's generals and admirals. And when every single day a new worse happens, it's easy to look over what's happened already. So from time to time, I'm going to remind you what the heck has been going on. so it doesn't just get lost in the daily barrage of disgusting things. Remember this? Are these commercials changing minds? I don't know. But what the Lincoln Project does better than anybody, any other videos out there, is providing context needed for the times that we're living in. And context is exactly what we're going to need when we're reporting on Trump's latest scandalous executive order that, quite frankly, I should have reported on 2 weeks ago, titled Defending Women from Gender Ideology, Extremism, and Restoring Biological Truth to the Federal Government. Yeah, that's the actual title. And yes, it's every bit as nefarious as the title sounds, and then some. This executive order changes the bylaws governing the VA, Veterans Assistance, in such a way that it now allows for discrimination based on anything that is not protected by existing federal law, like marriage status, sexual orientation, and an unfortunate turn of events. Whether you use medicinal Mary Jane, even whether or not you're a Democrat or Republican, can be discriminated against, legally. Interesting to note, none of the mainstream media is reporting on it. Well, at least they weren't. They're still too busy carrying water for Donald Trump. MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, where are you? Where are you? Fox News, you claim to love the military and love the veterans so much. Where are you? In order to answer that question, here's a little context. Lincoln Project, I need you.
President, your first 100 days has far exceeded that of any other presidency in this country. Ever. Never seen anything like it. Thank you.
Congratulations on this truly historic first 100 days of your administration.
This is the 100th day of the most consequential, historic first 100 days in the history of this country.
In your first term, you were courageous. This time, you're not just courageous, you're actually fearless. You've probably assembled the greatest cabinet ever.
No, they say I wear a lot of hats. Even my hat has a hat.
Since you've been your last 100 days, which saved, are you ready for this, media? 258 million lives. 258 million lives.
They all hated me in my first term, and now they're kissing my ass. You know, it's true.
So what do you think a Trump government would look like, Senator?
It would be chaos. And Donald Trump is a con artist.
They kiss my ass.
Thank you.
It's true. They kiss my ass.
Thank you for that.
And it usually starts with the president.
Over the next 100 days, we're going to do much more.
Yeah, that's what's going on. This executive order is yet another effort by the Trump administration to expand and further their anti-DEI agenda and their anti-LGBTQ agenda, especially against transgender people in the military and transgender veterans. Even the ones like I interviewed just the other day that's coming out soon, Arizona 6th District, who was in for 20 years, is now getting kicked out without any of the pension. 20 years service. Marital status is not protected. Veterans that are unmarried can now be refused treatment. Legally, YouTube, veterans that use alcohol, marijuana, can now be refused treatment. Legally. VA doctors can also refuse treatment based on the reason for seeking treatment. Make it make sense. Based on their reason for seeking treatment, they can refuse the treatment. Like patients seeking for sexual assault or rape. Political affiliation, like I mentioned before, is not protected under federal law, people. So VA doctors can now refuse to treat Democrat or Republican. Remember that, veterans. Yeah, it can work both ways. The VA Secretary, Doug Collins, he says that no veteran patients will be discriminated against, and all veterans will be treated. Well, man, I feel so much better now, Doug. I really, That statement could use a little context. Well, Doug Collins, I hope you don't mind that us veterans would rather not take you at your word on who will or won't be discriminated against after you've taken away the rights that protect them. And it's not just patients, YouTube, that can be discriminated against, but the VA can now discriminate in their hiring. Go figure. Who would have thunk it? If a hiring manager doesn't like unmarried women or LGBTQ members or Democrats or Republicans, they can be discriminated against. Willy-nilly, can't even sue. It's legal. This is especially concerning when you think about the new budget bill, the bloated, disgusting, big, ugly bill. That one that's happening right now in the Senate that they're trying to pass. Because that budget bill calls for eliminating 80,000 veteran workers. That could use some context,
You voted to cut the price of eggs, not for a $50,000 bill your family can't pay. You voted to cut the price of gas, not to have mom or dad thrown out of nursing home care. You voted for a stronger economy, not to close over 300 hospitals in farm states. But Congress voted to put the burden on you, to put your family and your finances at risk, to put seniors out in the streets. It's no exaggeration. The MAGA murder budget is going to kill people. Millions will lose care they can't afford any other way. People with diabetes, kidney disease, cancer, Alzheimer's, $800 billion in Medicaid cuts to pay for a tax cut for Elon Musk. It's not about Republicans or Democrats now. It's about right and wrong. Tell your senator, this is wrong.
Tell me, Doug Collins, will those people lose their jobs based on marital status, sexual orientation, or political affiliation? Will the people losing these jobs be handpicked? Who's going to decide who loses the jobs, Doug Collins? Is it you? Is it Pete Hegseth? I'd rather not. He's a drunk. He could be discriminated against too. Alcohol or marijuana, right? The most egregious part of all of this, including the possibility of the VA eliminating 80,000 jobs, is that we could be in a war. We could be in a war with Iran at any moment. It is extremely worrisome thinking that some of our heroes may come home and not have the health care they need readily available to them, that they deserve. But this is what we get when we have an incompetent administration creating policy based on hate. This is what you get when Congress approves a drunken sailor. This is what you get when Congress approves a hate-filled drunkard to run the Defense Department. That could use some context, I know.
only solution that I see is to establish a firm front. And the more resolute the front, the more effective it will be.
I want to emphasize that the damage report which I gave to you is based on preliminary reports received shortly after the completion of operations. I'll take your questions and endeavor to answer them, yes.
I want to assure all of you that we understand our solemn obligation to the American people to keep them informed of developments.
These events occurred on my watch. As Secretary of Defense, I am accountable for them, and I take full responsibility.
The United States will not look the other way when fundamental principles of the international order are being challenged.
Today's congressional action will ensure our military can defend our way of life, preserve the promise of prosperity, and pass on the freedoms you and I enjoy to the next generation.
Thanks again for being here. And with that, I'll be happy to take some questions.
See, this is the kind of thing the press does, right? Whether it's the Washington Post or Fox News or CNN or MSNBC, you start a news cycle that starts to call into question the ethics. No, that's why. Jennifer, you've been about the worst. The one who misrepresents the most intentionally what the president says. I'm familiar.
You think we need to see that?
Do you have a top secret clearance, sir?
Eventually.
A bit more about the role, sir.
Yeah, YouTube, that guy is the Secretary of Defense. We desperately need Congress to act and pass legislation regarding this absolutely crucial issue, this whole VA rights thing, you know? And this is too important to rely on the courts to hold the line. They're already not doing it. But with this Republican majority and this impotent Democrat party that we have supposedly going up against them, don't hold your breath, YouTube. I mean, do we really expect people like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert to push legislation that helps people? Hell, Nancy Mace climaxed just reading the title. She's rolling over now to have a cigarette. Guaranteed. No. The only way to change this is to vote. I know. You don't want to hear that. We have to take Congress in the midterms, the House and the Senate. It's the only way to ensure that we can continue to provide all of our veterans with the health care they need. That's it. The health care that they were all promised, that I was promised when I signed on the dotted line. So no, there is no sitting on the couch this next election. Hey, yeah, you. Before you click away to watch someone unbox a tactical toothbrush, let's talk about something real. Political Drain isn't just another content mill. We're a digital front in a very real war. Not with bullets, but with ideas, with action, and with solidarity. We pair urgent news with critical education. And we build community around actual resistance, not the hashtag kind. The kind that moves. But here's the thing. None of this is free. It isn't. Behind every video is time, labor, research, and some weird guy asking if we're going to pay the hosting bill. And yeah, some of that money goes to things we can't necessarily say out loud. If you know, you know. Let's just say our special ops aren't Call of Duty LARPers. They're people making real moves to protect, uplift, and organize. You're not just funding a channel. You're funding a resistance network in a world where capital still calls the shots. Unfortunately, in a system built on artificial scarcity, even mutual aid has a price tag. And if we want to grow, if we want to win, we need your help. We need your help. So if you've got even a few bucks to spare, toss it our way. It's not for ads. It's not for merch drops, but for people making moves in the shadows so others can do it in the light. It's just us and you. So fund the mission, fund the fight, fund the future, because nobody's coming to save us. We save each other. That's how this works. Follow us on all these things you see here, and our link tree is in the description. Maybe even get some merch.
That was the Political Drain podcast, which can be heard on www.groovechillradio.com/political-drain and can be viewed on the Political Drain YouTube channel anytime. Once again, thank you for listening to Groove Chill as we resist fascism in any form, pursue democracy, peace, and love.